unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the Kick-Ass Nation? It is I, Christopher Rausch, your host of the Raw and Unscripted show. Thank you guys so much for being back here. Another episode. We are on episode number 353. And I'm excited for you guys to be here, whether you're live on the video broadcast or on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. We're always live on videocast every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, you can always catch the replay if you want to see the videocast. I personally like watching podcasts. Two of my current favorites right now are the Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett and Modern Wisdom by Chris Williamson. Those are my two favorites right now. Tend to digest a lot of those. They have a variety of guests, and I love the questions that they ask. I love how they leave the conversation open to the interpretation of the listener rather than telling you what to think, offering you opportunities to ask yourself questions. And that's what we do here on the Raw and Unscripted show. Is the whole intention is to bring about a topic, ask questions during the broadcast of either my guest or myself or you, of course. And then the ultimate thing is to leave you with a couple of questions to answer for yourself or some exercises to do during the next week. And then you show up and you get another episode and you do those things. And guess what starts to happen? You start to grow. You start to change your thought processes about your future. You start realizing that your past and your present is really setting you up for what's next. But so oftentimes, we're mad that the world isn't the same. Man, I wish that things would just go back to the way they used to be. That's not going to happen. I did an episode last year that garners quite a bit of attention called There Is No Normal. And so often we want that comfort. We want that certainty. We're going to be talking about that tonight. Truth be told, we were supposed to have a guest on tonight. We were actually supposed to have a guest that watches the show regularly, Michael Baker, but unfortunately we were having some technical issues. So thank you, Michael, for tuning in and watching the podcast. What I decided to do, because I had to flip on a moment's notice, we were having some technical issues, is I am going to still bring you that same conversation. And instead of asking Michael the questions that I had set up to ask him about what's going on in the world today, what's going on with humanity, how we can understand our fellow human beings just a little bit more, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself those questions, and I'm going to answer those questions for you. And then what we could do is perhaps if you dig those questions and you dig that style of conversation, we'll ask future guests some of those same questions, and we'll kind of see how people answer them and what the different perspectives are, because that's the thing that I want to get across to you, is that we all have histories. We all have baggage. We all have stuff that we bring to the table, and that shapes a lot of what our perspective is, what our view is about given situations going on in the world today. So if you're disagreeing with somebody or if you're frustrated with someone, chances are it goes back to their childhood and a lot of the beliefs and the truths and the opinions they were bestowed upon them. They were given, they were told to think, and then they were never given the opportunity to look at the other side of things. And I see that happening a lot in households. People that are very opinionated are driving their kids to see only one side of the story. And that's pretty sad. You should be teaching your kids how to look at different sides of the story, because what they're going to do is they're going to grow up with that opinion and they're not going to look at the contra opinion. So that's what we're going to do today. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about what we talked about last week on the show. We talked about breakdowns before breakthroughs. Breakdowns before breakthroughs, and that's pretty important. So let me see. Let me talk about that for a second. The breakdown for the breakthrough. Yeah. Actually last week also, I put this out there. I got a few people replied. I was surprised there wasn't more, but I am considering doing a men's group for the first 8 people who are dead serious about showing up every single week for 6 weeks. I'm not exactly sure what the content is, but it's going to be a men's group. It's going to be where we're talking about our situations and growing from them. Because what I found out is, this is crazy. My TikTok is like 98% female. It's not a joke. That's true. But what I just found out, my YouTube analytics are changing, and the podcast and the snippets are getting a lot of growth. Thank you very much. But when I went in to look in the analysis, funny enough, like 95% of the people watching me on YouTube are men. So there you go. A predominant majority of my coaching clients are women. But so it's interesting to see men so interested in this conversation. So I'm putting that out there for you guys because I want men to start looking at their lives differently. Men are not communicating about their feelings. What I want to do is be able to empower men to go back and talk to their young men, their boys, like I have a 9-year-old son, and start to help some of the mental health stuff that's going on out there. I'm finding it is a huge disparity. I thought more men nowadays would be going and talking about their feelings and their emotions, but it's just not the case. I get around new men and I'm very vulnerable and honest, and I just look at their faces and they're like, I've never seen anybody talk about their insecurities before. That's kind of weird. You know, they just want to keep everything on surface level. So truth be told, yeah, last week we talked about life, and we talked about the perspectives of what's going on. We talked about painful seasons in our life, why they're our greatest turning points. We talked about how global uncertainty can either divide us or unite us. I give you guys power questions in that. Why reaching out matters now more than ever. Again, talking about mental health and talking about how it's a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. How curiosity replaces fear in times of change, right? Get curious about your situation, get empowered about your situation, get excited, okay, what is this supposed to teach me? How can I grow and learn from this, right? When you look back on your life, the challenging things in your life taught you something, didn't they? So it's, again, that's that reframe to take and be empowered by, challenging situations. We talked about simple ways to lift others when you feel stretched yourself, because a lot of people are like, I just can't be there for other people right now, and so much more. So go back and listen to that episode. It was episode 352. We are on our 7th year of the Raw Unscripted show, and I am truly blown away that it has been 7 years. 7 years of tireless work, a lot of dedication, sometimes some very frustrating and disappointing moments. But I have to tell you, I'm not a numbers person, but thank you again. I'm looking at the YouTube numbers, and for some reason, my views have exploded overnight. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please continue sharing this out. My mission, my vision is one person at a time. We can start taking a look at our lives. We can become more empowered. We can become less scared, less fearful, less insecure, less feeling like imposters in our own world. It's surprising to me how many successful people I meet who feel like an imposter. And they have self-doubt and they have negative self-talk. And I'm like, how did you become a millionaire? How did you become a billionaire? How did you become an actor, an actress? How did you become the lead singer of a rock band? How did you do those things while having all these limiting beliefs? And can you imagine what your life would be like, what it will be like when you don't have that insecurity anymore? You have that confidence to be able to stand up and take what it is that you want to do with your life and do it. So again, reach out to me, however you do it. Smoke signals. I asked everybody to do it this way. info@noexcusescoach.com. Send me an email. Say, Chris, I want to be in a part of that group. I don't know if I'm going to charge. I'll probably be a slight investment because I have found that when I've given things away, people don't take it seriously. So slight investment. What I'll probably do is take that money and go donate it to charity. I like to do that. But when you have skin in the game, you pay attention. You have to be there for all 6 weeks. I'm excited about this. But I definitely want people who are excited to jump onto this because it's something I normally don't do. And I feel called to do it. So if you're a guy and you're out there and you want to spend 6 weeks with me, let's fucking do it. All right, let's get on to the conversation tonight. Something I wrote. Let me ask you something. When do we stop trying to understand each other? Because you know what? Somewhere along the way, we started confusing disagreement with disconnection. Different opinion, cancel. Different belief, label. Different approach, defend. Again, cancel, label, defend. But here's what I've learned. Almost every human being on this planet wants the same things. And I've said this so many times, and I distilled it down here for you. To be seen, to be heard, to matter, and to live a life that feels meaningful. Ultimately, I believe all you boys and girls and beautiful people out there want to be seen, want to be heard, want to matter, want to live a life that feels meaningful. We just have to we think that we have to take different roads to get there. But tonight what I'm doing is I am going to take you on a journey that originally I was going to have with one of our dedicated loyal listeners. But I decided, you know what, the questions that I was going to ask him about what's going on in the world today and how we can learn better from each other, how we could be more understanding and sympathetic and not so closed-minded, not so everything, like all those people. I'm seeing it all over the place. I want to talk about how we see each other, why we react, why we judge, and how we can shift a single perspective. I'm not asking for you guys to change your entire opinion about a certain segment of society or whatever it might be. I'm just asking you to shift a single perspective, because that can change an entire relationship. That can start to really set up some dominoes in your life for you to feel more calm, more peace, more love instead of anger and hatred. And I'm seeing so many people mad and hatred. I'm like, what are you doing about it? And people aren't doing anything about it. They're just finding more people to be mad and hateful with, and more people to find problems with. And that's just not what we're meant to do. We're beautiful people all around this spinning blue marble in space. Like, when you think about it, we're on a rock out in the middle of space, and there's probably other galaxies and other people. And the thing that we take for granted is time. We think that we have all this time in the world, but when I ask you, if you only had yesterday, would you go back and do it differently? Right? Really, what are you proud of yesterday? What did you do yesterday that you're excited about? What are you doing today that you're excited about? Because so oftentimes we're living in things that we can't control, and we're blaming it on why we're unhappy in our own life. So tonight, it's just about truth, curiosity, and real talk. All right. So let's get right into it. Thank you guys for chiming in on the comments. If you have questions, make sure you chime in there. Thank you guys for sharing this out as you're listening to this. Share the podcast out, share the YouTube video out, go to the YouTube videos and check out the snippets. I do short little 60-second snippets after each show. So if you want to go back and check out a show, you can go to the YouTube channel, you can go to the playlist for shorts, and you can go back and say, oh, hey, there's a couple of snippets from last week's show. There's a couple of snippets from the previous week's show. If you dig it, then you can go click in, watch the full length episode, or you can go to your favorite podcasting hosting site and you can listen to it there. But I promise you this, you will always get value. You will always have an opportunity to shift your perspective just a little bit. And just imagine if you sat there and you went back and listened to maybe 20 shows and you applied the questions and the exercises in those 20 shows, your life would be fucking dramatically different. So the question is, are you going to do it? All right. So here's one of the questions that I was going to ask my guest, but I'm going to answer it myself. If every person's behavior makes sense from their life experience, how does that change how we listen? Again, let me repeat that back to you. If every person's behavior makes sense from their life experience, right? How does that change how we listen? And I will tell you this, and I've said it 1,000 times, but maybe this is the time I say it to you and you actually kind of get it. How do we listen? We should listen with the intention to really understand. And what I find, attorneys listen very well. They're listening for what's not being said. They're asking clarifying questions. They're saying, hey, can you tell me more about that particular situation? Hey, what was going on in your emotions when you were feeling that? Right? And what we can do is we can sit there and when somebody is saying something that we disagree with or have a challenge with, the best thing we can do is shut up and listen. But I can tell you this, I was in corporate America, I was in management, I would sit in meetings, and time again, the people that were lauded as great leaders were fucking terrible listeners. And I'll give you an example. Person A is talking. They're sharing what's going on, what the challenge is in their department. And the person that could potentially change it or is maybe in conflict, that person listens to about 10%, 20%. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. And then they stop that person. I know what they're going to say. I'm going to save time. I'm going to put this to bed. I'm going to fucking handle this. They make assumptions. They discredit the person that's speaking because they didn't finish listening to them with the intention of understanding. And then they come across with what? Not care and concern. They come across with their ego. And chances are they're going to defend themselves first. Well, I know you said that, but here's the 17 things. You guys didn't do this. You guys didn't do this. Blah, 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 blah. Point. Just that alone. Do you think that is a successful conversation? Do you think that is the best way to approach something? But yet I see it so many times. And I asked the person, why didn't you just actually listen to that person out? Because what happens is sometimes that person, if they have the balls to say it, and a lot of people don't, will say, I'm sorry, you interrupted me. I was about to say something that was a little bit different than what you're assuming. So if you give me an opportunity, I'd like to finish that. And then we can have the conversation about what we can do collaboratively to find a solution to it. Does that sound fair? And that may say, wow, Chris, that sounds really good. How did you do that? I did that because that's what I would do. Or sometimes I would actually even stop the meeting and I'd be like, excuse me, I think that person was going to say, I think Shelly was going to say some more stuff. Shelly, do you feel like you were heard? No? All right. Hey, fuckface, shut up. And I won't say that. And if even it's somebody who's my senior, I'll say, hey, isn't the point of the conversation here to listen to one another? Can we have that opportunity? And in some situations, I'm like, here's the talking stick, right? For those of you guys listening, I'm holding up a pen. Here's the talking stick. You in a meeting with people, maybe you sit there and say, hey, I got an idea. Only the person that's holding this pen can talk. It's like a microphone. So Sally's got the microphone. Hey, got the microphone. Here's the situation. All right, blah, blah, blah. Does anybody have any questions for Sally, for Shirley, whatever the name I was? Oh, yeah. A couple of questions. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have anything that they can offer that we could start brainstorming some solutions on? So we ask questions, we seek clarity. Hey, can you tell me more about that? How many times is this really? Oh, it happens all the time. Okay. Then you ask a clarifying question. You said all the time right there. And I don't want to make an assumption that you literally mean every minute of every second of every day of every week it's happening, right? That's not true, right? That's not what you're saying. No. It doesn't, not like that. Okay. So what's your definition of all the time? So how many interactions do you have a day with that department? Oh, I have 13. Okay. Out of 13 interactions, how many times does the situation happen? Maybe 2 or 3. Okay. So it's not happening 100% of the time. It's happening 20% of the time. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is it happening with a particular person? Is it the way you're approaching the situation? Well, you know what? It does happen when I go to them late in the day. All right. So what's their pledge? What's their cutoff? What if they have something that they're receiving in order to get it out the same day? What's that cutoff? Well, it's 2:30. Okay. So what time are you showing up to their desk? 3:30. Okay. So you're showing up and you're standing there and you're putting pressure on them and you're telling them it has to get done today. When you're not even understanding what that person's dealing with their workload and what promises they made to their boss or to their coworkers or other commitments they might have outside of the department. You're just walking up saying, hey, sorry, I have to do this again. Da, 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 da. So again, we're talking about listening. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. In your personal relationships, in your friendships, at the cash register, at the auto mechanic. I've done this with people. Like, have you asked your auto mechanic questions? Like, can you tell me more about that? Is there other opportunities? No, you just take their word for, oh, they're the expert. Okay. So when you think, again, going back to what I said in the previous part of the question, if every person's behavior makes sense from their life experience, how does that change how we listen? That person lived a completely, hey, how long have you held that belief? Oh, you haven't held that belief for very long. Okay, what caused you to change your mind? Oh, I saw this and I saw that. Did you verify it was true and accurate? Was that hearsay? Was that an opinion piece or an opinion piece? Or was that actual fact? Did you confirm through multiple sources that it was in fact true? And I'll give you guys another example. Social media, we've all seen it. Somebody posts a news article. Oh my God, can you believe this? That was proven fake 6 years ago. If you go on Snopes or you go on something else, you could debunk it pretty quickly. That's AI. But that person posts it and believes it to be true and just fucking goes out there with what intention? Not to educate, to point fingers. So here's an opportunity for you, my friends listening to this and watching this, for you to get in front of a mirror and say, hey, do I really consider myself an empathetic, understanding, thorough listener? Nah. And I've asked people that. Do you consider yourself a great listener? No. Okay. Well, you're telling me you're having problems at home. You're telling me you have problems at work. Do you think maybe it's about listening? Do you think maybe it's about hearing the truth? So when you sit there and you decide, hey, each person I come in contact with, I'm going to be a little bit curious. I'm going to be an interview. I'm going to be like Chris on the Raw Unscripted show. I'm going to put my interviewer hat and I'm going to say, you know what? I really don't understand or know a lot about this person. I'm going to take the care and the time to sit there and say, you know what? This conversation matters to me. Let's not do it over text. Let's not do it over message. Because here's my belief. If it takes more than 5 trades back and forth, and it started with emails. If it takes more than 5 emails to resolve something, get your ass up and go sit in front of that person. Make a meeting, sit there and say, hey, you know what? We're not obviously communicating very well over email. Let's have a meeting. Let's talk about it for 20 minutes. Let's go in there with the specific intention to address this situation and to find a solution that works for both of us. Does that sound agreeable? Yeah. Right. And you say little things like that. Does that sound fair? Chances are people are going to say it's fair. And then you've already got buy-in from them. Okay. You said it was going to be fair. Okay. Let's have this. And really go in there with that attention to sit there and say, what? I want to find something else about this person or find out something about their opinion or what's driving this angst. Like, what are you really frustrated with? Well, I'm really frustrated with this. Okay, let's talk about that. The other thing is a symptom of the root of the cause of the problem. So what I've done is I've asked people like that, what's your real issue? Well, my real issue is I don't feel like I'm being heard. Like I said before, what do we all want? We want to be listened to. We want to be understood. We want to have a voice. We want to contribute to what matters. So again, when you change how you listen, and I've watched people, I've coached a lot of people through this experience, like go back and have that conversation and listen. You know what happens? You might be surprised about this. Inevitably, people come back to me and go like, fuck, Chris, I didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know because you were interrupting people and you were asserting that you were so smart and that you had it all figured out when you don't. And guess what? Everybody in the room sees right through what it is that you're trying to do. So you're looking pretty ridiculous. You think you're commanding attention and respect, and you're in that director role, that VP role, that whatever role it is, but you're being misunderstood. You're being labeled. So how do we change how we listen? We get curious. Like, instead of finding how we're different, find what you have in common. And I'm sitting here raising my hands. This was not easy for me. All of these things, seeking first to understand, then to be understood, was not in my game, because as long as I was right, I was happy. And where did I get that from? My experiences in childhood. I saw my mom win every argument, always right, super intelligent, lonely as fuck, misunderstood as fuck, died alone pretty much. And is that the way you want to live your life? This is Gizmo. For you guys watching the podcast, this is Gizmo. This is my big boy. He's my producer. He wants to come up here and step on my keyboard and fuck shit up. Okay, let's get on to the next question. This is making sense for you? So here's what I want you to do. Just in the next 7 days, find somebody that perhaps you're not getting along with or you don't understand. It could be your landlord. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be your coworker. It could be the person at the fucking coffee shop who spells your name wrong. What is it? I've walked up to people. Hey, why do you constantly spell my name wrong? Because you're kind of a dick when you order. I'm using an example, but you know what I mean? All right, here's another question that I want to put out to you, and I'll put out to myself, and I'll answer myself. Can two people disagree on approach and yet still want the same outcome? Where have you seen this in real life? Can two people disagree on approach yet still want the same outcome? I've proven it time and time again with the COVID stuff, with the presidential stuff, right? What do we want? We want safety. We want security. We want people held accountable. We want less government. We want, but we want this, we want this, we want this. All right. So can we disagree on approach? Yes. But ultimately, is it really how it gets done, or is that it gets done? And I've proven this a time and time again. People sit there and say, the cross-dressers are going into our classrooms and reading books and, and teaching kids and and all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. So you worried? Are you scared? Like, have a talk with your kid. Like, have a conversation. You're going to meet people in your life that you may not understand. You may find people that do things in their own private lives that make you cringe. But you know what, son? That's their lives. And as long as they're not entering or going into your space or caught, let people be people. Is it illegal, immoral, unethical? To me, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't goes against my Christian value, But again, when you sit there and look at, okay, what's the outcome? We want our kids to be protected. We want our kids to be safe. We want our kids to be armed with knowledge, because they're going to go out, and especially now more than ever, the world's changing so fast. None of us can predict what's going to happen. So guess what? Teach your kids to be open and curious and accepting and understanding, but also stand their ground, have their moral values to sit there and say, hey, that's not for me. That could be for you. There's been things that I have heard in my life in private conversations with people, and people have told me, like, I can't believe I just told you that. I've heard so much stuff, from freaky deaky sexy stuff, all sorts of stuff. Did I agree with it? No. Do I want any part of it in my life? No. Does it make me uncomfortable? Yes. But that's their thing. That's their jam. They're happy. They're with people who agree with it, and they're doing their thing, and it's not hurting anyone. Okay. So let's focus on the opportunities to see where our similarities are at, which is what I do. Hey, what are we similar about? What do we really agree? If we took the labels away, here's another way I look at it, and I have a conversation with people. If we got rid of the labels, Republican, Democrat, anti-vax, vax, fucking whatever you want to do, and we just sat there and said, okay, what is one problem that's so important to you right now that you have an idea of how we can solve it? This one. Okay, I'd love to hear it. And then let them say it. And rather than coming up with your defense, oh, yep, see, I knew he was going to say that. Okay, so number one, I'm going to defend this. And number two, if you're doing all this shit in your brain, preparing for your response to prove them wrong, are you really listening? And it's easy to get distracted, ADHD, So you focus on for me, I watch their lips move. I watch the lips sometimes because I can get distracted super easy. I can sit here and type, and I used to do this. Type an email, look out the window, still listen to the person, absorbing their words. I can see their words in my head. I can still type the email. I can still look out the window. I'm still paying attention 100%. But what does my body language say? My body language says, I don't give a fuck. My body language says, I'm not paying attention. My body language says, I don't care. So what I learned, because I had to learn too, and trust me, at first I was like, I don't have to learn this. Why can't they just get with the program? Why are they so stupid? Once I started shifting all that, guess what? My leadership changed, my respect level changed, my impact changed, my results changed, my inner peace changed. I stopped worrying so much and I started wondering more, right? You worry too much. How about instead of worrying, oh, what's going to happen with this? What's going to happen with that? How about wonder? Like, what's one thing I can do that might be a little bit different this week that could start to change the trajectory of my life? And I can tell you, number one, drink more water. A good majority of you guys out there don't drink enough. I hate water. Okay, just keep telling yourself that. Your body's like 85% water. If you don't put water in your body, guess what? You're dehydrated. You're dehydrated, you feel like shit, and then you go to your short-term gratifications. You fucking piss yourself off. You lie to yourself. You don't keep your promises, and then you're frustrated, and then you spend decades and decades being miserable, trying to make everybody else miserable. Then you get to the end of your life, and you realize, holy shit, I was an asshole, and I lived my life, and I wish I could do it over again, but I can't. Right? We've seen the Christmas story. Goes to Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future. What does the person do? Oh shit, I didn't realize it. They have a clearer picture. And that's what I want for you. I want you guys listening to this and watching this to have a clearer picture, have a different picture. Again, go back to that seek first to understand, then to be understood, and listen. Like for me, again, I have to put words in my head. I have to sit there and also do this. Can you imagine this? Oh my God, here, you ready for this? Yeah. Sometimes I have to say, I'm so sorry. I get fucking spun out and get shit in my head. I was not paying full attention to what it is that you were saying. I got distracted by thinking about something I have to do later. I'm so sorry. I really want to understand this. I apologize. I'll make sure I pay attention. Can you repeat what you said? Because it's really important to me. Now just think about the words I just said. Someone says that to you. What does that do to you? What does that do for you? What does that give you? What emotion does that? That was really nice of them. Fuck, that's cool. I should give them the same respect. So you start listening. You sit there and say, Shirley, here's what I'm hearing you say. I'm hearing you say you're really frustrated with our department because when you bring us something late in the day, we're unable to get it processed, and then it makes you look bad because you promised the customer. And so what can we do? Right? Oh my God, that person listened to me. They really understood me. Okay, what are some suggestions you have, Shirley? How about this, Shirley? I would love for you to have a bigger picture of what's going on here. So perhaps what we can do, and I have said this many times, let's do a cross-training day. Let's have you work in this department for a day, and you can kind of see, not to learn it, but you can see an overview of the steps and the things that we go through and some of our procedures, what we need to do in order to keep our pledge times. And then maybe collaboratively, we can look at opportunities of how maybe something on your side or our side we can adjust in order to incorporate those last minute requests. What do you think about that? And again, I'm sure you're listening to that going, wow, that was really nice how he said that. And was that initially easy for me? Was that in my nature? No. But as my wife was running around the house yesterday, fake it till you make it. Or act as if, as I like to say. So think about this. It's not rocket science. It's a matter of being intentional. Being intentional. Start listening more. Start looking for commonalities, right? And then catch yourself go, oh shit, you know what? I was ready to make an assumption about that. Yeah, okay. It's like what we're seeing in the news. There's different angles. There's different people shooting the same scene And yet dramatically, we have different perspectives about that based on our filters, right? That's what I'm talking about here. What is your filter? And can you adjust your filter? Can you let a little more light in? Can you let a little more love in? Can you let a little bit more understanding in? And then, like I said before, you say that to that other person. That person might be thinking to themselves, oh, I got to win this argument. So when that person comes back with this reply, then I'm going to hit them with that. So you're both thinking in your brain about how you want this to end because you're in such a hurry to get to the next thing you got to do, which is most likely something miserable. I see people all the time in the morning and then the afternoon, they're rushing and they're killing themselves, fighting in traffic, trying to swim upstream with thousands of cars ahead of them, trying drastically to get to work on time to a job they hate. And then they do the same thing home. And then they wonder why they're unhappy. They're on that hamster wheel. Hamster wheel. If you guys are listening, I'm motioning my hand like I'm running on a hamster wheel. Zzz, what does that do? We just spin in circles until what? We get exhausted. Chris, I just want to get off the hamster wheel. I'm tired. Okay. So maybe you're tired of the situations that you're in. So you could take a look at these questions too, and you can sit there and say, hey, what can I learn from this? Here's another question. Hope you guys are digging this. Again, make sure you're here's a little broadcast thing. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel. It's huge and it's blowing up a little bit. And I'm really excited about that. And you can't even imagine how thankful I am after 7 years of doing the show to start really seeing some progress. And I hope it's just not just a little fluke. I hope it is getting to more people and impacting more people, because that's ultimately what I want to be remembered for. That's the example I'm setting for my son. He sees me. Sometimes he comes in here and he watches me do the podcast. He's like, Dad, you really care about people that you don't know. I'm like, yeah, I love humanity. Am I frustrated by it? Yeah. Is there times I want to say, fuck off, I don't want to deal with it anymore? Yes. 1000%. I'm tired of it. I'm going to leave social media. I'm going to stop the podcast. I'm just going to live my life. But that doesn't lend itself to the legacy, right? When we talk about on the show, we talk about big picture, small picture, but the big picture is, okay, if I died tomorrow, would I be proud of the things I said and I did today? Right? And you think about the eulogy that's given at the funeral. Will I earn that? Have I really, truly live in that life? People are going to get up there and say all these awesome things, but I really want them to say, you know what? Chris fucking cared about people. Oh my God. He especially cared about people he disagreed with or he didn't understand, because it made him more keen to find that nugget of how we're more the same than we are different. Where's that commonality? Oh my God, you rode bicycles and were scared to death and did all sorts of crazy stuff. Tell me, when did you stop doing crazy stuff? When did you stop having that uninhibited passion and that curiosity and adventure that we had during summertime, when we'd get up in the morning, we'd walk outside? For us older guys, girls, we would go outside until what? The street lights came on, and we would get ourselves into all sorts of stuff, and we would climb trees and we'd have all these adventures. And then somewhere we started critiquing and qualifying. Oh, I'm not going to spend my time doing that. That's for kids. And we started putting labels on things, right? What if we didn't do that anymore? What if we didn't put labels on stuff and we got excited and curious about life? Huh? Here's a question. How much of our reaction, we talk about reaction versus response, right? How much of our reaction to others is about them versus unhealed parts of ourselves? There's a question. How much of our reaction to others is about them versus unhealed parts of ourselves? You probably have heard me already saying this in tonight's conversation. I can promise you. Let me ask you a question out there in podcast land in one of 98 countries. Thank you again. Do you feel like you're fully healed? Do you feel like you've got it all together? Do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 10? In your emotions, regulations, in your positivity, in your health, in your religion, in your goals, in your job, in your relationships. Are you a fucking 10? No. Okay. Do you have unhealed shit? Yes. Do you still blame certain people of your past about situations or why you're a certain way? Okay. That's unhealed. And here's what I recommend to you. Go talk to a professional. Go talk to a professional. I'm going to challenge you. Go have 6 sessions. Find a therapist. Don't like I tried therapy. It sucked. Okay. How many therapists did you have? 1. Did you really try it? Or did you just say you were going to try it or tell people that, oh, I'm going to therapy, I'm trying it. Oh, no, it sucked. That person was stupid. Okay. thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, licensed clinical social workers, whatever it is. How about finding the one that fits you? How about the one that clicks with you, like your personal relationship, like your friendship? You know, you go from person to person to person, and hey, I click with that person, right? Give people an opportunity. Give yourself an opportunity. I tried it, but it didn't work. Did you really give it 100%, or did you give it like 40%? Because I've even had people coaching with me, and I found out pretty quickly, like, they really don't want to coach. They want to say that they're getting coached. They want to say that they're addressing, oh, see, I'm doing all these things, but secretly they don't want to change. Secretly, they won't change. So how much of what's going on is unhealed shit from our own past that we're projecting onto other people? My friend Scott Goyette says it all the time. We're mirrors for each other. And I'm going to say something that a lot of people don't like, but some people go, you know what? He's right. Here it is. We're more the same than we are different. We are more the same than we are different. Outside, we can look different. Inside, we can have all sorts of different experiences. But chances are, when you whittle it down, we want the same things. Again, like I said before, to be respected, to be heard, to be validated, to have meaning in our life, right? So if we're more similar than we are different, and we do have unhealed situations from our past, are we being the best version of ourselves in those relationships? No. Are we reacting to situations without knowing all the truths or all the facts, or hearing a soundbite or taking something out of context? Yeah. Okay. You recognize that in yourself, right? Yeah. I see people all do it all the time. I do. I see my wife do it. I'm like, where's the context? You just heard 20 seconds. And sure, those 20 seconds sound terrible. And you can't really imagine on either side of those 20 seconds how anything could change the 20 seconds that you heard. But right before, the person may have said, here's a horrible example that I would never want anybody to experience. And then you take that soundbite, right? Context. If somebody tells me something, I'm like, let me see the whole thing. I want to understand it in context, right? Here's another thing that's fun to do with people who hate. I'm totally against abortion. I'm totally against same-sex marriage. I'm totally against whatever it might be. All right. You want to change? You want to be different? For the next couple of weeks, I want you to defend what it is that you're against. I want you to find facts for yourself that say, here's in the situation, here's how I support it. Because so oftentimes we want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But hey, you know what? Before I said I was 1,000% against abortion. But you know, and really considering it, if somebody's raped, if they might like die from potentially giving birth, there are a few situations that I can actually see where I think it makes sense. Okay, so you went from being throw the baby out with the bathwater, it's totally terrible, anybody who believes in that is an asshole, is fucking not God, then to, oh, you know what? I really didn't consider it. And that's where the growth comes from, is when you take that personal accountability, you take that personal checklist and you go, hey, do I really listen with the intent of understanding? Hey, do I react instead of respond? Hey, do I judge things without really truly understanding? Okay, you know what I do? And guess what? I'm not going to be perfect, but if I can improve 20 to 30% over the next couple of months, and then the next couple of months after that, and maybe in 12 months, I have a different set of perspectives for so many different areas in my life that allow me that opportunity, to that vision, to see the bigger picture, right? And sometimes that sucks. I will tell you this. Sometimes I can watch situations and see people within a matter of an hour online, all these different places, just go, oh my God. But then I have to sit there and say, hey, Chris, when was the last time, you have to be honest, when was the last time you took something out of context? Oh yeah, well, there was that and there was this. Do you really understand that? That's one of the things, just as a side note, I'm going to be doing here on the show, is there's some things out there I don't know about and I don't understand. And I could easily make a judgment about it. However, on the show, we're going to explore some of those things. Like I've been hearing about this incels. I don't even know. That sound to me sounds like a fucking terrorist group. But incels are apparently guys that are not having sex. And apparently there's this whole thing about it. So here on the Raw Unscripted show, what I'm going to do, because I don't understand it, and I think I have my own personal opinions about it on the surface, So now I decided, you know what? Hey, let me explore some of these subjects and be honest with you guys and go, okay, here's the stated situation. Here's one side of it. Here's another side of it. And together we can sit there and take this episode in that time and talk about incels and like, okay, what is it? What's going on in our community? Do we have anybody in our families, right? Is cousin Joey, is he staying inside, not going out and meeting girls and living his life? Hey, maybe I could be a great uncle to Joey. Hey, maybe I can go out and, whatever it might be. So look for unhealed parts in yourself and look for unhealed parts in other people. And I will give you this tip. Here's something that I've done and that I do that helps me out tremendously. I don't look at the person or the person online or in person, whatever it might be. I don't look at them as they are today. I don't look at them as an adult, male or female, or any identification that you want. I look at them as little boys and little girls on the playground. Why do you do that, Chris? Because I'm curious. Like, who were you on the playground? I don't even ask them, like, what kind of kid were you? What kind of childhood did you have? And it's not in an interview setting. It may be at a social event. I used to go to a networking event every single week and meet new people. And that was some of the things like, what about your childhood do you still carry with you today? Like, if you thought about the little boy and little girl inside of you, what aspect of that still comes out in your relationships today or comes out in your personality? Oh, kind of, or my playfulness or whatever it might be. Hey, okay. So another question. What practices helped you soften toward people once you once resisted? What practices helped you soften toward people you once resisted? And I've told this story. I've told stories plenty of times on this broadcast, so I'm not going to necessarily repeat them, but I have had more than a few situations where I've had a judgment about somebody and it's justified. I could sit there and prove the facts. I can give you the 17 things and the things they've done that support that. But how can I soften? How can I, and again, it's that understanding. And especially in the workplace, what I tell people is like, go take a motherfucker out to lunch. You can learn a lot about somebody, getting them outside of the office, getting them outside of that role, that label. Because what I found out is a lot of people really identify with who they are at work, their label. This is who I am. What do you do? We're one of the few nations in the world that ask people like, so what do you do for a living? Like, who fucking cares? I ask people like, what has lit you up lately that has made you the happiest? How fun question. Like oh yeah. Or some people like, quite honestly, I haven't had any of those lately. Well, tell me what's going on. Do you have somebody to talk to? Yeah, I really don't. Well, hey, here's what I do. Or just ask them a couple questions. Be curious. Like, what's one thing that you can do to reconnect to your little kid self? Oh, that's a great question, Chris. I never really thought about that. Well, what are you into? Oh, I used to be into drawing. I used to be into painting. I used to be into skateboards. So what would it be like if you just took like an afternoon and did that? Maybe invested a couple of bucks and got some paintbrushes and some paints and did it again just for the fuck of it. Like, I don't know what I would draw. Draw something. Like, what symbol gives you the most hope in life? Oh, a heart. How about drawing a heart with somebody's name in the middle of it? Well, that sounds kind of corny. Maybe. But then you draw the heart and you're like, oh, fuck, it feels good to hold a paintbrush in my hand. I've done this with people with music. Oh, yeah. Do you ever used to play an instrument? You'd be surprised at how many people light up. Yeah, I used to be a singer. Yeah. Or did you do anything in the arts? That's another great question. Did you ever do anything in the arts? Yeah, I used to be a painter. Oh, I used to be a dancer. Oh, I used to be a singer. Oh, I used to be a comedian. Oh, I used to be a juggler. Oh, I used to be a magician. Really? Why is that not the case anymore? Oh, a lot of it, they say, oh, I don't have time anymore. I just don't have time anymore. Or I outgrew it. I'm like, what did you love about it? You ask somebody that question. What did you love about? What did you love about painting? And if that person starts to glow, then you have a key to reinforce that perhaps maybe that person needs to paint some more, right? Read the person's body language. I didn't get a chance to really say it before when I was talking about body language, but 85% of our language is our body. It's what our face is doing. You guys are watching me. The photos who are watching me right now, you're watching to see if I'm sincere. You're watching to see if I'm intentional. You're watching to see how the emotions and everything are conveyed through the screen, right? We make judgments. We make assumptions about that. So when I think about what practice has helped me soften towards people is I took a fucker out to lunch. Got to know him as a person. Found out as soon as we got outside those doors, no longer a sales rep. Now he's a person. Now he's a person like me. And so perhaps maybe I can open up something. Yeah. So you got, man, I'm having a challenge at work. You have any challenges at work? Oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. you find out about somebody, and then you find out, oh my God, I didn't realize they were taking care of their sick aunt. I didn't realize they were working 2 jobs. I didn't realize that their son just got over cancer. I didn't know that person had all those stresses in their life. And yeah, they were a little frustrating, but geez, could I understand that? Yeah. Can I have empathy? Right? Let's talk about that word. Empathy, compassion, understanding, right? Can we give a motherfucker a chance to find out what's been going on in their lives and what they're doing? I found people, hey, I didn't know it. Like, oh yeah, I'm fucking going to chemo treatments. I had no idea. Yeah. And my hair hasn't fallen out yet, but I've gone to 6, or they've gone to radiation. You just don't know. Right. And so what has softened me? Seeking to understand. I will tell you this also. Like when I in traffic, I'm the biggest guy that loves you and respects you. And my cats keep trying to get on my lap. When I get behind the wheel, sometimes I'm like, motherfucker, why did you use your turn directional? What's your fucking problem? And I'm embarrassed by that. I'm embarrassed when I do that in front of my son. When I realize, like, holy shit, he sits with me and my wife in the car. And are we more often than not cranky and frustrated at other drivers? Right? Do you think my son might go, geez, dad loves all these people, but then he's an asshole towards him in the car? I wonder why. Is he being real? Or is that his real self? And then your kids are going, huh? I don't know what to believe. All right. Maybe I have an assumption about that. But then they grow up and then they're like that. And you're telling them, oh, you never know. So what I do, sometimes not perfect, is I'll get in the car and I'll stop for a second. I'm like, what is my expectation about what it is that I'm about to do? My expectation is I'm going to go out and drive, and people are going to use their turn directional, their turn signal, whatever you want to call it, their blinker. That when they make a left and they're doing something, they're going to tell me that they're doing that. Whether they're coming from oncoming direction or whatever it might be, people are going to just click the thing. It's not hard. Just click the thing and the little blinker comes up. Oh, I don't use my blinker because then it causes people to speed up. All right, we'll just have a rule that you put your blinker on. And if 5 cars pass you up and don't let you in, the 6th car, you stuff them. Because that 6th car has watched your blinker. And when you stuff them, you just sit there and wait. Yeah, motherfucker. And I'm coming in. So how about that? But what I found is I put my blinker on, people let me in. And guess what? I get in, I give them a wave. Whatever happened to the wave? Nobody waves anymore. I let somebody make a fucking left-hand turn in front of me. It took them 10 minutes to do it earlier today. Maybe not 10 minutes. I was just waiting. Like, can you give me a wave? I'm sitting here waiting patiently for you to fucking back in and back out and back in and back out and back in and back out and back in and back out. And I'm like, hey, take your time. Don't worry about it. Think you could have got a wave? No. Motherfucker, what's wrong with that person? I don't know. When I get in the car and I think, hey, Chris, there's people out there who are losing their jobs. There are people out there that are physically ill over what's happening in our lives. Innocent citizens being shot and killed by our own appointed people in government, right? There's people out there who may be driving 2 jobs. They worked 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour shift at their job, and they're coming home and they're delivering Costco, right? Here in the United States, we have Costco. My wife orders from Costco. I feel so bad. Sometimes there are women that are bringing these heavy produce boxes full of stuff. I had a lady, swear to God, true story, last week, bring a thing of cat litter, which is already 25 pounds. And then she had 3 cartons, half a gallon of cartons of milk on top of that. And she handed it to him. I said, you better take care of your back, girl. Hands it to me. Fuck, I'm like, oh shit, it's heavy. You don't know. Maybe that person has been doing that all day, carrying stuff in for people. Maybe they don't have enough groceries at their house. They're trying to get into traffic. They fucking don't want, they're already late for their deliveries. They're maybe brand new at their job and they need the job because now they got less hours at work. You don't know what other people are going through. So what practice has softened you? Just stop and give people a beat. Stop having such high expectations for complete strangers and basing your happiness on what it is that they do or don't do. Right? I'm seeing so many people frustrated and angry and hurt and crying and upset and all these different things, which is understandable. Why? How can I understand a little bit better? And I'm not saying not be mad, not be angry, not use your voice, not put people that are different from you out of your life. There's that opportunity too, right? But ultimately, if you've given the person the opportunity and you're giving yourself this opportunity to grow and to change, then that's a beautiful experience, right? People ask me like, how do you not so mad and angry? And I'm like, trust me, I have that initial reaction, but then I choose to filter and I choose to understand it. Then I choose to respond. Because I find when I am reactionary and I put a post up there, then I kind of regret it. And then people sit there and say, Chris, I thought you were more of the person that brought people together and had them bridge their ideas and have mutual understanding and bring the world together. But you just did something that's very divisive. And I'm human. And sometimes I want to do that. Sometimes I want to see. I just did a post today. I'm like, it's pretty sad that there are people out there that will only comment on my post if they absolutely vehemently disagree with me. So I know if I put something inflammatory, I can surely get a few people that I never hear from to comment on it. And so I put a post out there. I'm like, it's funny why people don't do that. I put a post out there the other day that was subtle, but it said, why are we not seeing these ICE agents and seeing these people going after child predators? And there's such a problem. And we're talking about the Epstein files in the news and it hasn't been released. And there's all this stuff like that. Why aren't we mad because the kids aren't getting saved? Why are we so excited for people who are citizens and people who are here law abiding and trying to make this world a better place and trying to seek a better life for themselves? Why are we seeing that and getting all lit up? There's some fucked up people out there, right? We should be going after the stuff. We should be going after the fact that people are homeless and hungry. Oh, they're drug addicts. No, they're not. There's going to be more of that than ever with AI jobs. You should be focusing on yourself. You should be focusing on the life that you can create and you can enhance with your community, with your people, because it's going to get dark. And that's the reality of the situation. So we can become strong now, become strong for our community, and learn to better understand ourselves and to release some of the hostility and the anger where it's needed, but also embrace it and act on it where it's needed as well, right? We need people to stand up and say, hey, this is bullshit. We shouldn't have our own government attacking us. And if you want to have a conversation about that, hit me up. Let's have a conversation on here. We will be doing that. Having some conversations about that. I'm gonna set the example for how to seek first to understand and then to be understood. And I'm also going to set the example of how to diffuse a situation. And I'm also going to be real that maybe there's somebody out there that I'm going to have on the show where they just don't get it. They don't want to get it. And maybe I got to say something that's maybe not unkind or, truthful. I don't know. We're in this story together. We're in this journey together. So here's what I want you to think about for yourself. The questions I've already answered for myself, I want you to answer over the next 7 days. But here are a couple of things that I want you to consider. Who in my life do I struggle to understand? And what story might they be living that I have never considered? This is for you, ladies and gentlemen. Write it down, type it down, do something. Who in my life do I struggle to understand? And what story might they be living that I've never considered? Again, what are they going through? Like I just gave you all sorts of examples. Right? Would you have compassion if somebody that was pissing you off, you would finally understood that but they just beat cancer and their kid's sick and they're not making their bills, they're about to go bankrupt, their husband's about to lose their business? Would you have a different perspective about them? Yes, you would. If you don't, then you're an asshole, which I know you're not. Here's another question. Where have I confused disagreement with disconnection? Another one. When I feel triggered by someone, what part of me is asking to be healed? Again, I get triggered. Now, I will tell you this honestly, most of the time it goes back to a similarity of a characteristic my mother had. And I will feel, I feel triggered. I feel like you're telling me what to do. I feel like you're giving me the opportunity to say what the truth is. You're making assumptions, And then what do? We react, or we go back into our little kid space. We go, fuck, I don't want to deal with this person. I just want to run away. Right? So when you feel triggered, what part of you is asking to be healed? Do I listen to respond or to understand? That's so huge. So huge. And be honest with people. Hey, man, I was actually formulating my response and wasn't paying attention. I'd like to really hear you. I'm sorry. Right? And just for those of you who want to know, the apology has 3 parts. I'm sorry. It was my fault. What can I do to make it better? Not, I'm sorry. Like my son will say, I'm sorry. I'm like, why? What are you sorry for? Like, ask people to clarify. Oh, yeah, I usually just take the apology. Like, what are you really sorry for? Oh, I'm sorry you took it that way. See, somebody says they're sorry, but I'm sorry you took it that way. We still got some stuff to talk about, man, woman. Here's another question. If the outcome I want is peace, connection, and progress, is my current approach aligned with that? So there you go. Another episode of the Raw Unscripted show, ladies and gentlemen. I love and appreciate you. I know you got value out of this. So what can we do? You can share it out. And not only just share it out, say, hey, here's something I took from this conversation tonight. Give me a little prop. Say what it is that you learn. Say, hey, you really need to pay attention to this part, and excite people to listen to this. Because together we can make this world a better place. Together we can make ourselves better, not bitter. Together we can heal some of the shit that's going on so we don't run to our short-term gratifications and regret it later. Right? I know people on alcohol and food, let's just go with that, running to their short-term gratifications to ignore life. I just need a break from the insanity, right? And I've seen those people continue to do that. Okay, you need a break. You need a break. Okay, you've been doing it now for 15 years. Oh, you got diagnosed with diabetes. Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. Type 1 or type 2? Oh, actually okay. Well, type 2, you got an opportunity. Okay, let me catch up with you in 5 years. Oh, worse. Yeah. Well, I took on this and I had this and then this happened and that happened. And they give themselves excuses and reasons for why they take care of poor. You know what? I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to start a New Year's resolution. And then I've seen those people get worse. I've seen those people get cancer. I've seen those people have heart attacks. I've seen those people have strokes. I've seen those people have divorces. I've seen those people get fired. I've seen those people lose their businesses, right? Deal with the root. Deal with the root. Decide you're just going to become a more loving and genuine person. And over time, take that imperfect action. Listen, like there's tons of books out there. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Raw and Unscripted out. We'll be back here next week again. Go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the Christopher Rausch. If you just go on Google, here's something you could do. Do the hashtag, the little number sign, hashtag no excuses coach, and you'll find tons of stuff about me. You can find my YouTube channel and not only hit the notifications, but hit the notification bell when new stuff comes out. We'll be there for you. All right. I love you guys. Let me know what impacted you. And again, if you're a man and you're within the sound of my voice and you want to be a part of a 6-week group, men's group thing, hit me up. info@noexcusescoach.com, info@noexcusescoach.com, wherever it is you want to do it. If you can do it, I just put up a cool little barcode here on StreamYard. It's up in the screen. Take a picture of that. That will send you to my YouTube page. So there I am learning how to use technology. I love each and every one of you badass motherfuckers out there from all over the world. Thank you. See you here next week.